What's going on, Aurora Alliance, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta video. In this video I'm going to be comparing the shooting and the aiming in first person and third person while aiming down sight and hip firing. This guide will help you improve your accuracy and hopefully help you get more kills in Star Wars Battlefront 2. But before we get fully into this video, let me know down in the comments section below what guides, tips and tricks you would like to see from Battlefront 2, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to join the Aurora Alliance, be kept up to date with all Battlefront 2 content, and see exclusive gameplay videos in the future. But now, let's get onto the topic of this video. So you might be thinking, what are the differences between first and third person in Battlefront 2, and what are the differences between aiming down sight and firing from the hip? Now I'm going to be covering quite a few different things in this video, so if you want to take notes or pause the video at any point and rewatch it, feel free to do so, as I do believe this guide will be very helpful for people who are struggling to get a lot of kills in Battlefront 2 and people who are struggling with their accuracy. So I ran a series of tests in the Battlefront 2 beta to see what the differences are between first and third person and what the differences are between aiming down sight when firing your blaster and firing from the hip. In this video you're going to see a lot of clips which will help you decide which is best. So to start off with, let's cover the differences between first and third person. In Battlefront 2 there really isn't much difference between first and third person, in the same way that in the first Battlefront game by EA and DICE there wasn't really a difference between first and third person. Obviously in third person you do get the advantage of seeing more of your environment, as well as being able to corner camp and look around corners to see when enemies are charging towards you while they don't know you're there. The disadvantage of third person for me personally is that the camera is quite a bit further away compared to first person, obviously, so when you are firing at enemies who are at quite a distance, they look even further away than they actually are. In first person it feels like you have more control of your weapon as well, which I quite like, and it's also a closer camera view to enemies on the battlefront. However, the only downside is, you can't look around corners to see when enemies are running at you compared to how you can do it in third person. As for accuracy bonuses or differences, I don't think there is actually any bonuses or differences between using first or third person. Just like I said, for me in first person, personal preference, I feel like you have more control over your weapon compared to third person. When it comes to aiming down the sight or firing from the hip in Battlefront 2, there is a big difference. Now I've got clips to show you what the differences are and the recoil pattern and the bullet spread, so to say, in Battlefront 2. So I went ahead and chose all of the classes in Battlefront 2, went and found myself a wall and shot at it while holding the fire button completely down to see how bad the recoil is for the weapons in Battlefront 2 and to see what the differences are between aiming down sight and firing from the hip. So as you can see from the clips on screen, if you are in first person and third person while you are just firing from the hip, there is quite a lot of recoil and the bullet spread does increase over a period of time, which is expected from a shooter game. However, when you aim down sight and fire your weapon while holding the fire button completely down, there is a lot less recoil and the bullets don't spread out as much, or the blaster bolts don't spread out as much, whatever you want to call them. So the obvious advantage here is, if you aim down sight, your shots will be a lot more precise and accurate, and your weapon will have less recoil and less kick, allowing you to control the weapon accuracy a lot easier, allowing you to hit more shots on your target and potentially get more kills. This is also going to help a lot with long range combat, as your bullets or blaster bolts will be a lot closer together while aiming down sight compared to just hip firing. So now you know if you fire from the hip in Battlefront 2, your weapon will receive greater recoil and greater increase in bullet spread or blaster bolt spread over a period of time if you just hold down the fire button, compared to if you aim down sight, your weapon has a lot less recoil and your bullets or blaster bolts have a lot less spread, allowing your shots to be a lot more accurate and precise. However, there is also another bonus to increase your accuracy in Battlefront 2. While you are standing and firing from the hip in Battlefront 2, like I have just shown you, your weapon will have a lot of recoil and your bullets or blaster bolts will spread out a lot more over a period of time while holding down the fire button. But if you crouch and fire from the hip, your weapon has a little less recoil and your bullets or blaster bolts spread out a little less, meaning that while you are crouched, your shots will be a lot more accurate and precise compared to standing up and firing from the hip. The same goes with crouching and aiming down sight. If you crouch and aim down sight, your bullets or blaster bolts are incredibly accurate compared to being stood up, and your weapon has next to no recoil, meaning your shots will be insanely accurate and precise. However, if you are stood up and aiming down sight, like I've shown you already in this video, your shots are really accurate anyway, but you only gain a slight bonus if you are crouched. In third person, this doesn't change. Like I said, there is no real accuracy bonus for being in third or first person. If you're in third person, you will experience about the same amount of accuracy and recoil if you are firing from the hip or aiming down sight, stood up or crouched. I'm just showing you clips of this so that you can understand exactly how it is, rather than me explaining it all over again. So if you are to take anything away from this video, it is that there is no real accuracy bonus from being in first or third person, it's just purely personal preference. The main bonuses come from whether you are aiming down sight, or firing from the hip, or stood up or crouched. In an ideal situation, you will be crouched and aiming down sight for most of your kills, or especially long-ranged kills, as it will make your shots incredibly accurate and your weapon will have next to no recoil. However, I understand you can't be crouched, stood perfectly still and aiming down sight for every single moment of every single game, so if you are running around the battlefront, do try to aim down your sight a lot more, as it will make your shots a lot more accurate, and try to crouch when necessary to make your weapon have next to no recoil and your bullets or blaster bolts barely spread out, giving you the best possible accuracy and precision. So although I have talked a hell of a lot in this video, I do hope that this guide will help you increase your accuracy and get more kills in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I hope it helps you compare first and third person and aiming down sight and firing from the hip. So make sure to let me know down in the comment section below if this guide does work for you and does increase your accuracy and the amount of kills you are getting per game, because your shots have increased in accuracy and precision. Make sure to smash a like on this video if you have enjoyed it, and if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to join the Aurora Alliance and be kept up to date with all Battlefront 2 content, as well as see exclusive gameplay videos in the future. Other than that, may the Force be with you.